talk. You can talk about your story. That how did
Yeah,
it's
I would
actually
love to. My name is Diana, and I am the subject and co-author of a book called Soldier Sister Savant. And that takes different parts of my life and my art gift, which came to me suddenly, dramatic blue, Giovanna. I mean, I live in Osprey, Florida, enjoying the palm trees and living near the Gulf Coast. But I lived in New York before Florida. So I started my artist journey as a visual artist in 2017. Before that time, no experience, no desire, no ideas about art critique or art concepts. I was a musician, so I came from that sector of art, but really it all came to me. And I'm also what's called a synesthete, synesthesia, which means that from a neurological standpoint, my perceptions, senses can cross. So I have two types of synesthesia. Sound causes colors, and then touch and temperature causes sound. It's a trip. But that's a lot of the inspiration for my art, which comes suddenly and I must create it. It's nuts.
so it's based on the music you hear. Can you talk about a little bit more? Because it's somehow that I can see these wave. It's just like
Oh, the art.
yes,
So do we want to look at some art?
yes.
So in 2017, things started very basically. I mean, totally different than what I do now. But my first bit of art was boomerangs and blobs. So I had these shapes and colors coming through my mind's eye, and I had to find a way to create them. And I didn't have a toolbox of digital creation tools, but I was a computer person. I was an IT person, and did website development.
Oh, I see.
Lots of coding. So this is one of my websites that helps me save a lot when I can create my own. But the first pieces are very abstract and moving, simple tools at the time. Well, for me, I was using a lot of Adobe Illustrator, even though I had never used it before. So very basic, flowing in 2017. And since that time, I've created over 1,200 pieces. So the inspiration does not.
Do you use Illustrator, draw these line, or it's just like an AI drawing?
No, I do a combination. So here it was me, and now I do combination AI. Let's go to some of that art. So generative.
Wow.
This is generative. This is all AI. Don't they look like little intestines, mazes?
Yeah, it looks like how your brains work with these.
Yeah, I know. And there's more, AI generated.
But I mean, like, did you have like a brain surgery? Because I read a little bit about that. I learned more, a little bit more from your blog. It wasn't like a brain surgery. Like, how did you get the brain damage?
Oh, let me explain. My Savant, which is in my
Okay.
a shameless plug for my book. But I had a motorcycle accident while I was in the military. 1984, long time ago. Well, when I was in the military, I was exposed to toxins, and I developed multiple sclerosis, and I had a traumatic brain injury from a motorcycle accident where I banged my head, and left side lesion, the right side starts to regenerate and make up, and that's where art comes from.
Oh.
I'm very left-brained, but now the art comes right-brained. It was suddenly like lightning, and I'd never had any experience. This is very highly technical AI stuff, but let me show you.
I love it. You know, I just love your art.
Oh,
I showed in the Brooklyn, the Williamsburg Hotel. A lot of people ask me like, who's the artist, and I just explained that. Yeah, and I made especially I made a girl. She's really into psychedelic. That she said, "Oh, this is a
that's so
when I took the
psychedelic.
mushroom, I said, "Well, I don't think this artist is using any mushroom, but."
No, not mushrooms, but I can tell you that cannabis, therapeutic cannabis, can help my journey a little bit. Because of multiple sclerosis, I use medical cannabis. So if I'm using medical cannabis and I'm creating in the middle of the night, it's going to be, it might have that. But no, no, I do not use psychedelics per se, but it feels psychedelic sometimes. I mean, like,
I know exactly what you mean.
you know.
I know, because of the like my art, people always related to psychedelic or trance. Even I really like music, but I don't use any of these
psychedelics. Yeah. But I am drawn to color in a big way. So, I mean, when I see colors in motion, I have to create. So, that's one of my most, trying to get out. Let's see. One thing about, let's see. Okay, there we go. Here's a series I did that I actually did on clothing, some of them on clothing. Just a different, these started as fractals, and I worked through, and it felt very flight. You know, I felt aviation, I felt the movement, I felt a little bit of a kind of a retro feel or antique, you know, so I added some coloring and different effects, all digital, you know, but probably some of the coolest are the abstracts and then the fractal manipulations, where now you're getting into psychedelic and otherworldly. So fractal manipulations, these are really kind of out of this world. They work with formulas and scripts. I'm trying to load them, but they're big pieces of art. And I've animated a lot of these and made them into NFTs.
Okay. You use any 2D animation tool or apps?
I do it. I use the Adobe Cloud. So I will use After Effects sometimes. I will use InDesign. I use the iPad Pro with, I think I've got over 100 different programs that go between the iPad, the desktop, web-based. I can't keep track. And the thing is, I will use one program on an iPad, send it to my iMac, do something else in another program, send it back to my iPad, use another program, and it can go back and forth, 6 or 7 times. So my workflow changes constantly. And I've had people ask me, can I pay you to teach me how to create art like you do? And no, because I don't know how I do it. A lot of the times, that's the Savant thing, is that the Dr. Treffert, who is the international known scientist. And,
I also I watched that YouTube.
He says this one thing. Yeah, it's amazing. He says that savants know things that they never learned. And that's the perfect way to sum it up. It comes to me, I learn it, and I'm able to take a piece of software and just kind of intuitively work my way through it enough to do what I need it to do. So that's really, and a lot of these go into motion very well. Yeah, such different. And, you know, people say, okay, so you make digital art, you make a fractal. What can I do with it? So I find printing on metal, so momentum on a glossy metal in like a 60 by 60, beautiful. And then I do a textured metal, which is a neat way to print. I do acrylic, which is like plexiglass. I'll do metallic paper between pieces of plexiglass. And then I will print on metallic paper and metallic canvases. It's fun, but then I do clothing too, which.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, did you see
By
something?
the way, this is really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, they're made in Montreal, and
I think
I own a
know
bunch. I own a lot of them. I love the dresses that are reversible, and then I will wear a kimono over, and it's just such a neat look. And there's so many. I mean, there's one of my fractals on there. Everything from like, you know, palazzo pants, if you're feeling funky, dub woman.
Yeah. Well, this is like a party dress.
Oh, yeah, there's, where are we? Oh, I must have clicked out of there. Sorry about that. So I've got all kinds of art. It's so much art that it's hard to keep track of. And people will say, oh, I like that one or this one, you know. So this is my hand at 3D as I'm learning it. So I took my generative art and I put them on cans. And I have them on, I call them crypto pop cans. I have them as a small collection on OpenSea. And somebody has bought one, maybe I've sold two, but they go with, I thought that they would be a good asset within video games. That's how I'm, you know, here's a 3D object you can add to your video game. But it would also be, I can't really do the 3D side here, but let me go to Foundation and we can look at some of my NFTs. I've got a nice collector base on Foundation.
Wow.
That I've sold. So here's like a pop can. You can do 3D, but look, isn't that cool? So somebody they can actually, you know, purchase and they get the GLB file and they can embed it. You know, even, I know you deal with NFTs, and have people bought your NFTs and put them in virtual environments? Because that's what I'm experiencing now, is that.
Yeah. I have a couple collectors. They brought my NFT. They have a Decentraland. They have a Sandbox.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and also there's a couple metaverse funders. They show me. So that's how they play my NFT. Well, I closed one VR company last year because I don't have a good experience with partners, some problem, but I still want to explore more about VR, metaverse, VR, AR, those things.
I love that. Yeah, I had one AR piece on Foundation, but this is like, you know, this is Kuntz Matrix.
Yeah, this is what Techspressionism use. This is
yeah. So I've put my NFTs here. You know, that's another way, you know, for people to
3D
you know, take a look.
Oh, I love this piece.
And then I go right into, you can go into the moving NFTs, you know, in the other room if you can get your way through the wall. It's hard when we're working with embedded within embedded. But let me see.
Yeah, I have a question. Like when you get started, like how did you answer people's question if they ask you like, what is your artist experience? Did you just tell them that, oh, I have accidentally got these?
Yeah, accidental artist. Yeah. I've had to. I can't lie. I mean, I can't.
How did you get started from the very beginning?
At the very beginning, it was, I live in a very artistic town, Sarasota, Florida, which has art galleries and art centers. And I mean, everybody's an artist and a realtor, it seems like everybody, artists and realtors. So how did I get started? I got started by creating and then kind of looking at other artists in the community. What are they doing? Mm-hmm. Well, there's these things called juried art shows. Oh. And yeah, let me just talk a little bit. Juried art shows. And I was like, what is that? I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what artists do. I taught myself. As I do many things, I hit the books, figured out how to be an artist. And that's where Techspressionism kind of came in and provided a home, because people would say digital art, that's not real art. Well, I would say it is real art.
I know. This is why we love Techspressionism. That most of we don't know, like we don't have any group we can fit in.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why when the very first time I heard this term, Techspressionism, that's me.
That's me. Yeah. That's me too.
And that's you too.
It is. And I remember meeting you on one of the first ones. I've only been in probably a half dozen salons. I look forward. But I remember meeting you, and you were getting involved you were in digital art and getting involved in NFTs. And I was getting involved. And I'm like, ooh, we got that in common. Digital art. Yeah.
I feel like this is so interesting, especially when we start to explore NFT. That's something like tokenized blockchain. That's the people, the traditional fine art industry. They start to feel that they have to do it, so they have to
yeah.
the technology, even they hate it.
I know. Yeah, so that's given us a real, inroad. Like it's the coattail. We just hang on to the NFTs, and there's digital art. But conversely, you're dealing with a lot of people in that space for the wrong reasons. So I'm getting ready to give a talk to a group of Florida artists, a Zoom presentation on digital art and NFTs. And the heart of my NFT talk is caution, don't jump in, because I just did an NFT project with somebody a few months ago. Sketcha Friend, Sketcha was the name of the artist. He just had 52 Ethereum stolen out of his wallet. 52 Ethereum and all our tokens. So the art I did with him is in somebody else's wallet. So, I mean, there's a dangerous landscape, and people.
But is that a foundation app or OpenSea?
No, this was somebody, it was OpenSea, I believe. Yes, OpenSea, totally.
Yeah, I also on foundation, but the way foundation works is more complicated when you mandate and lease in for sale, and also a lot of upfront. You have to pay for the gas fee, pay for the maintenance.
Yes.
But the thing is, the way OpenSea handle with the NFTs is actually easy.
It's easy, but it's dangerous.
I know there's this is tricky that I always want to educate. And by the way, this is always not financial advice, legal advice. This is our artist shakes.
Not legal, and be careful. I mean, security.
I tell all the artists, you have to have a knowledge about blockchain, about crypto wallet. It's so easy to upload, and this just another word, upload. This is really it's nothing new. But the thing is, you have to understand, and also understand the risk. so you can protect yourself. You don't want the people steal your IP, steal all your work, or steal all the earning from you.
No.
Yeah, so I try really hard to educate people.
That's what I'm going to be doing. And I mean, I'm going to talk about Techspressionism, which is going to be positive, and I'll talk about digital art. And I'm showing a whole sequence of stills and then moving art and then some augmented reality that I've done, which I should show you, which is pretty cool. But let me see.
So what type of AR?
I have been using the Adobe, what is it? The Adobe Cloud, but they have one called Aero.
Okay.
AERO. And then that works perfectly with, it goes right into Photoshop or Illustrator. It's a nice, so I've used that. And then I've been using Blender and working with 3D, and just there's so much to learn, and it's fun. But are you interested in seeing a quick shot of augmented reality?
Yeah, of course.
Do you see that? You see that?
Wow.
Okay, so that's a bit of augmented reality 3D, but let me show you the augmented reality that is really, let's go back. I did these owls. This is a sample. Parliament. That's just one little, aren't they funny?
Wow.
And then I can code. I took some cans and I floated them in space. And then I took, this is the only one I seem to be able to kind of.
Are you going to have more shows, more online or physical exhibition somewhere?
Yeah, I'm working on that, on some collaborations with some local artists in Sarasota. I just got done with an exhibition in January or December, actually it was. It was a month long in Sarasota with this other artist. And she does digital and mixed media. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to do it again, do it in a different way. And so it's a very competitive environment where I am. Woo, lots of artists, lots of art galleries, and a lot of artists that want to get into art galleries. Yeah, check out Sarasota though, where I am. It's just Sarasota, near Tampa. We're south of Tampa, which is a big artsy area, of course. But for our little spot, our little town, it's very saturated with artists. And so I like to exhibit in some of the local art centers, and I've been creating my own virtual exhibits because that's a lot more affordable. The exhibits, collaborations, okay, something I've done and I want to do more. This is with a freshman in high school. And she gave me this, and I created that using a combination of manual and AI.
Oh, wow. So these are like a collaborative work.
Yes. And I want to do more of those. And that's what if you want to collaborate.
AI tools do you use?
Okay. One that I love, for my fractal rendering is J Wildfire, because I do a lot of fractals. And then I use a wonderful but very complex program called Studio Artist. That's one of several. I'd say I spend most of my time in the Adobe Cloud. And then I'm getting into AI with processing, to be able to code. So many programs down here. I use Blender, but AI I'll use my iPad and so many different programs. Sometimes I will actually search on the web and try to find something I can use, a program. Yeah.
Beautiful work.
Thank you. I mean, I have, I'm always entering different shows, and I just haven't found my permanent home yet, you know, so it's about, we're doing a lot of book talks and getting my book out, and my story, my art story, as a means of encouragement, and sharing my art at the same time.
Do you do commission, or it just all like just you just work for your own idea?
No, I have done commissions before. You know, people, it's a matter of trying to understand my art, you know. So I will, you know, for purchasing, I ask people. Thank you. This one I actually have hanging up in my, right outside. But yeah, so people, I've got so much art, and only a sample of it is represented through the website. So I ask people, tell me what you like, what style, and let's work with that, or give me an idea. So I'm always open to commissions. I'm always open, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That one I have on a dress and a top. That's such a fun piece. Done through, it's called Entropy. And it's, I mean, thousands of primitive shapes. That's the way I love. So that's an AI piece where I end up, yeah, all different types. Yep, same. Different, yeah. Fractals. Fractal manipulations. Yep. Yeah. Just so.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Talk to our audience and share these really extraordinary. Oh yeah, the last thing I like to know, where can we buy your book?
All right, thank you. So I have a website for that.
Okay, so it's just like directly buy from
to my, yeah, and then
the book. Okay.
yeah, right from the website, and then there's the, you know, Amazon has it quick, easy, but you can get it through other options.
And it's a print out book. Is a printed. Okay.
Yeah, printed, and it's half done very well, but it's half my story in words, and then you start to get into my art as a, so it's an art book and a memoir. It's yeah, very proud of it. Yeah. And that's, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.